Hi everyone, Minky here with the next deck profile episode. I know this was going on a hiatus for a while and it still technically is, but I want to do these 3 episodes because I figured I've got to do something, for it, and I want to have a few more uploads than just my Minky Mondays at the minute. Because right now I'm not doing any LPs. I'll be starting one soon, but that won't be for another 2 months. So, and that's going to be 2 months from now. It's 7th of October at the minute, so just to give you an idea. But I want to have something going up other than my Minky Mondays, because right now it's just one episode, it's just one video a week at the minute, and I want to try and get a few other videos out at the time for now. So I figured I'll do these 3 videos now, and also it's not even technically 3 videos; it's only 2 videos because I've already technically recorded one of them, as I recorded one of these 3 videos a while ago by accident. So I figured that that's still up on YouTube. It's still been up for quite a while now. So when you go watch that one, which will be the next one, it'll be next week's deck profile. It will be sort of back in time, if you will. When I don't think I used music in it, and I confused it with the Armitage decks. So just so you're aware. So that's why it's a bit weird. For these 3 decks, so these 3 deck profiles, but I haven't, changed anything about these 3 decks, so you're not going to miss anything. It's not like that deck profile it's going to be different from this one, if you will, in the sense of neither of them have been updated since. So just so you're aware. Alright, okay, so the deck profile, so the boss monsters. Okay, so wow, this is actually pretty big of a deck profile, by the way, so I'm going to try and speedrun it, but, just so you know, but yeah. Alright, so, our boss monster. I've actually got 2 boss monsters, technically. Our first boss monster is the obvious Uria, Lord of Searing Flames. 3 copies of this card. You must best summon it by sending 3 face-up trap cards you control to the graveyard. So any 3 trap cards, right? This card gains 1000 attack, but not defense, for each continuous trap card in your graveyard. So it only gains the attack on continuous traps. Once per turn, you can target one set spell trap card your opponent controls, destroy it. Neither player can activate spells or traps in response to this effect's activation. So that's what this copy says. I'm sure it was no player, that card can't be activated in response to this, but I guess a monster effect can be changed to it, and then a spell and trap card can be changed to that monster effect, so that's something, I guess. But hey, Uria, Lord of Searing Flames, and I actually have 3 copies of it as well. I don't think the other 2 have that, but maybe I do, I'm not sure. But yeah, that's the first boss monster. As for the second boss monster, Worm Illidan. Yeah, a 1 tribute monster. This card, each time a card is set on your side of the field, place 1 worm counter on this card. You can remove 2 worm counters from this card to select 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. So basically, obviously this is going to be filled with trap cards, so you're going to be setting a lot of cards. Therefore, when you set something control side of the field, that counts spells and traps as well as monsters. So therefore, every time you set a trap card, you get a counter, and you can use up 2 counters to basically MST something your opponent controls. So anything your opponent controls as well. So it's really nice, even if it is a 1 tribute monster. Alright, time for the effect monsters. First of all, we have Magical Merchant. Flip. Excavate cards from the top of your deck until you excavate a spell or trap card. Add that card to your hand. Also send the remaining card to the graveyard, or the remaining cards to the graveyard. So obviously in this deck there's not going to be too many monsters, and as soon as you get a spell or trap card, you get it to your hand. So in this sort of deck, chances are you're going to draw a trap card. You're not going to lose too many monsters. So really nice. Next up is probably everyone's favourite card, the Despair Uranus. When this card is tribute summoned, while you control no spell trap cards, you can activate its effect. Your opponent declares either continuous spell or continuous trap, then you set 1 card of that attack directly from your deck. This card gets 3 attack for each face-up spell / trap card you control, and for each face-up one. Face up cards in your spell and trap card turn cannot be destroyed by card effects. So okay, so yeah, that first effect where you get to add a continuous spell or trap, but the opponent, if they know what they're facing, they're probably going to pick continuous spell, to be fair. So that first one's a bit useless, or mostly useless, I should say. There might be the odd continuous spell in here, but obviously if they pick continuous trap, hey, you get a free search of basically any card in the deck almost. Then a free set of that card as well. So it's a set though, so bear that in mind, but still. And then also, regardless if that goes off, the other two effects are, gain 3 attack for each face of spell trap card you control, so he can become 4400 for all the trap cards you control, and face up cards in your spell trap card turns cannot be destroyed by card effects, so it also protects them as well. It does protect by both players' effects, so obviously if you want to get rid of your Call the Hunted, you know, but it's destroyed by card effects, so you can still tribute for Uria if you wanted to. So there's at least that. Well, not true, but you know what I mean. And then finally, our last monster, which I know it's pretty quick, is White Knight Dragon. Essentially a blue eyes with dragon monster, but not really, but you know. During every player's turn, when a spell trap card that targets this card is activated, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. When a face-up monster you control is targeted for an attack, you can send one spell / trap card you control to the graveyard, change the target to this card. So that last effect is why this card is in here, because you can send any of your spell trap cards to the graveyard to move the attack target to this card. Now that's obviously good if they're attacking with a weak monster, or a strong. Now, if they attack with a strong monster, you can still send a continuous trap card to the graveyard, because and what that would do is that would give Uria another 1+ attack. So that's why this card is in here. Alright, time for the spell card. Yeah, it's just one spell card. Lightning Vortex. I know it's a bit of an odd card. You discard one card, destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls. Now I know it's a bit odd, but you can discard a continuous trap card. So, you know, that's pretty much it. Alright, now time for the traps. And the beef of this episode, if you will. Because there's a million traps in here, so I'm going to try and speed run this up a bit, so if I go a bit fast I do apologise, but obviously if you need any cards you can just look them up, or if I mumble a little bit of the names, feel free to ask. If you can't make out what card it is, I'm always up for answering. So first of all, we have Abyss Stingray, a trap monster that is summoned as an effect monster, Thunder type, light, level 5, 19 attacks and defense. Still a trap. If summoned this way, you can only summon a battle. So it's a trap monster, it's a continuous trap. Really nice. Good for tributes as well, for like Worm, Illidan and whatnot. And next up is Aerial Recharge. Bear in mind, this deck was built like a long time ago, so if I got some bad cards in here, I'm probably going to remove them for next time, but just bear that in mind. Once per turn, you can special summon a Mecha Phantom Beast token, Machine type, Wind, level 3, 0 attack and defense. During each player's end phase, tribute one token or one Mecha Phantom Beast monster, or summon this card to the graveyard. So obviously that effect is like, you get to summon a token. You can tribute for Worm Illidan, and then obviously this card you probably wouldn't keep on the field. Therefore, you send it to the graveyard. Oh, 1 fast attack for Uria. So really nice. 2 copies of And the Bend Played On. Neither player can special summon monsters with the same level or rank as those that they control. So that means you can't special summon more copies of Uria while this card's on the field. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you have a Uria already on the field and you tribute this card for Uria, you would still get the second summon. But you know, at least it's something. But hey, it locks your opponent out as well, and only special summons as well. So you can still normal summon Worm Illidan, but obviously that's not really going to do too good anyway. Next we have Anti-Spell Fragrance. Both players must set spell cards before activating them on the next turn. You know, it's basically like turning them into kind of traps, which isn't going to hurt this deck too much because, like I said, there's only one spell, and it's a continuous trap. So really nice. 2 copies of Aquacorus. If there are monsters with the same name on the field, increase the attack and defense of all those monsters with the same name by 500 points. So it doesn't matter if you can't control. If you control one copy of a monster, no boost. If you control 2 or 3 monsters with the same name, 500 boost regardless. So it's still 500 if you control 2 or 3 Urias, right? And then obviously they still gain, obviously, but it does start with more copies. So if you have 2 or 3 agricultures on the field, they'll gain 1500 instead. Obviously, you kind of want them in these in the graveyard anyway, because they'll gain 1000 per agriculture instead. But that's neither here nor there, I guess. But I guess if you have more of a monster in the field, then there you go. Next up is Astral Barrier. If your opponent monster attacks a monster you control, you can make it a direct attack instead. Simple as, basically. Attack of the Cornered Rat. If a level 3 or lower normal monster you control battles, so this ain't going off in this deck at the moment, maybe this card should belong in another deck then. During the damage save you can pay life points in multiples of 100. The attack on the opponent's monster is reduced by the amount of life points you paid until the end phase. You cannot pay more life points than the attack of the opponent's monster. So pretty self-explanatory, but a bit pointless in this deck at the minute. I don't know what I was thinking when I put this in there. By order of the Emperor, you can choose to negate the activation of an effect monster's effect that activates when a monster is normal summoned, including itself. If you do, that effect monster's controller draws 1 card. So I don't know if I have anything in here at the minute that can benefit from it, but obviously your opponent might be able to benefit, well not benefit, but you might be able to benefit preventing your opponent from doing that. And I think it does affect you as well, so I think if you normal summon something and then you want to activate this in response to it, I think you can still do this and negate its effect and you draw a card, but either way, negation, so it's pretty nice. Alright, tell me if you heard this one before. 3 copies of Call of the Haunted. Activate this card by targeting a monster in the graveyard, special summon it, and face attack. When this card leaves the field, destroy that target. When that target is destroyed, destroy this card. So again, really nice card. Obviously it's much better in Armor Tile, but it's really nice in here as well. Next up is Castle of Dragon Souls. Once per turn you can banish a dragon type monster from your graveyard and target 1 monster you control. It gets 700 attack until the end phase, even after this card leaves the field or the monster becomes unaffected by card effects. When this face-up card on the field is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 of your banished dragon type monsters, special summon that target. You only control 1 copy of this card. Now I don't have any dragons in this deck, but I can at least use the other effect, and maybe I'll even find a dragon type monster to put in here. Actually no wait, no I do have White Knight Dragon, so yeah, it's fine. It's completely beneficial. Chain Ignition. Once per turn, if a monster your opponent controls is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, except during the damage step, you can target 1 card in the field and destroy it. So really nice. Really nice. 2 copies of that by the way. Next we have Copy Knight. Limited edition Copy Knight as well, that's really nice, so good thing I sleeved it as well. Whenever for a lower warrior type monster is normal summoned, you also have the field, so I don't think I can benefit from this one. Special summon this card as a normal monster with the same name and level as that normal monster. So I guess there's your normal monster, but it's level 4, so. Warrior type, light, attack, and defense 0. This card is still a trap card. So again, I don't know why this isn't here rather than one of my other decks. Well, one of my Armor Tile decks that will benefit from it more, but again, that's for the updated decks to have a look at, so. Next up we have Destructive Draw. If either player has no cards in their hand at the start of their draw phase, they can draw 1 more card in addition to their normal draw. This card's controller loses 700 life points during their end phase. If less than 700, they become 0 instead. When this physical card is removed from the field, it inflicts 3000 damage to the player who controlled it. So, really nice, but it does benefit your opponent. And I think it was 700 damage. Yeah, 700 damage during your end phase. So, but your opponent loses no life points whatsoever for it. So, just be wary of that. Next up is Dice Nide. Each time your opponent special summons a monster, roll a 6-sided die, and return all of the summoned monsters to the hand with a current level that's the same as the result. So, not that great a card to be honest, because if they special summon level 7 or higher, you can't bounce it back. But this is something. Now here, continuation of the card, because it's the same creature on it. Dispersity. Once returned, you can target one monster in the field whose current level is different from its original level. Roll 6 sided die, and that monster's level becomes the same as a result. So that's kind of nice. You know, it's not too great if anything, but it's something. Right, next up we've got 2 copies of Dimension Gate. When this card is activated, target one monster you control. Banish that target face up. When this monster declares a direct attack, you can send this face up card to the graveyard, on the field to the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon the monster banished by this card's effect. Bearing in mind, you can banish your... You can banish something, right, with this card's effect, and then tribute this card for Uria, and then that counts. Yeah, I think that counts as this card leaving the field, so I think you can get your banished monster back. It's an if you can effect. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that works out. So you could tribute this for Uria, and then get the effect to bring back the monster. So it's really nice like that. Alright, next up we've got 2 copies of a gold rare Dimension Reflector. Activate this card by banishing 2 monsters you control. When this card is removed from the field, bring them back. No. Banish 2 monsters you control, then target one face of monster your opponent controls. Special summon this card in attack position as an effect monster. Like as type, dark, level 4, question mark attack and defense. With the attack and defense equal to that face of monster's attack. This card is also a trap card. If this monster is summoned this way, inflict damage to your opponent equal to this card's attack. So, really nice card right there. Again, tribute for Thingamajig as well if you want that. Dimension Sphinx is next. Activate this card by targeting one face of attack position monster you control. Once per battle, during the battle step, if it is attacked by an opponent's monster with higher attack, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the difference between the attacking monster's attack and the targeted monster's attack. If the targeted monster leaves the field, destroy this card. So, really nice damage there. You know, it kind of mirror forces the damage if you would a little bit. So not too bad. Right, next up is Dragon Catching Jar. Yeah, I know it's an obscure card. It forces all dragon type monsters into defense, but not an obscure card. But you know what I mean. You know, it's a bit weird. But I feel like it's something good for the deck because it doesn't really hurt you too bad. It hurts White Knight Dragon, but that's it. And it's also a continuous trap card. So if anything, it's there to slow down your opponent if possible. And you know, and if not, it still serves a purpose because, like, even if your opponent had no dragons whatsoever, it would still give you Uria and an additional 1 fast attack. So, speaking of dragons, by the way, Dragon's Bind. Activate this card by targeting one dragon type monster you control with 2500 or less attack and defense, such as White Knight Dragon. Well, not White Knight Dragon. If you lower White Knight Dragon's attack by 500, then yeah, White Knight Dragon. But otherwise, I've got nothing applicable at the moment. Now play can special monsters with attack less than or equal to the original attack of that monster, which does work with White Knight Dragon, by the way, if you lower its attack by 500, because the current attack has to be 2500 or less. But it takes the original attack. However, this does hurt you because it means you can't summon Uria, so there is that. When that monster leaves the field, destroy this card. So, there is that. Hang on, does it prevent zero attack? Yeah, it does prevent zero attack regardless, so even if you target a monster with zero attack and defense, it will still prevent Uria, because Uria has, I think Uria has 0 attack, right? Let me look. Yeah, Uria has 0 attack. So, you know, that's a problem, I guess. I probably should take that card out, to be fair. Echo Oscillation. You can target one card on your opponent's turn, destroy it, then draw 1 card. Then use the effect of this card on its turn. Now, I don't know if, to be fair, I don't know if the Pendulum Stone, if you put a spell trap card there, a regular spell trap, there, does it still count as a Pendulum Stone for cards like this that say destroy the Pendulum Stone card? Because if so, you can put a dragon type, you can put a continuous trap card into one of those stones, destroy it for this card, draw 1 card, you know, and then you've also got an additional 1 fast attack on your Uria. So if that works, if not, I'm sure I'll find another use for it. Maybe even a different Armitage deck, such as like with Fiends or whatever. But you know, it's not even all there, I guess, at the moment. Right, 3 copies of Embodiment of Apophis. During Outfit's main phase, special on this card as a normal monster. Reptile type, Earth, level 4, attack and defense, 1600 attack, 800 defense. This card is still a trap card. So, yeah, really nice trap monster right there. It's just a trap monster, but it's a main phase trap monster, so you can't spring it up during the battle phase, which is a bit of a pity, but it's something. Next up, we have 3 copies of Explosive Urchin. Activate only when your opponent activates a trap card. During your standby phase, inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. Your opponent must control a physical trap card for you to activate to resolve this effect. During your third end phase, after activation, send this card to the graveyard. So not that great, if anything. Trap cards have kind of fell off as of late, but it's still continuous trap cards, therefore it's still good for Uria. So no, that's not too bad. Fairy Box. Each time a monster on your opponent's side of the field attacks, toss a coin and call it heads or tails. If you call it right, the attacking monster's attack becomes 0 only during the battle phase. Pay 500 points during each of your summon phases. If you cannot, this card is destroyed. So I think that means that if you have enough, you must pay it. Which I do think kills you if you have 500 life points exactly left. But if you have 300, if you have less than 500 in it, then you destroy it. Also, that works regardless of like if they're attacking directly or if they're attacking into a monster. But like if you call it right, they become 0. Meaning if they're attacking directly, they still attack, you just take no damage. If they're attacking a monster, say they attack into a blue eyes, then they attack into the blue eyes for 0 attack, and then they take 3000 damage and lose their monster. And then obviously if you guess it incorrectly, then it just proceeds like normal. You know, nothing changes about it. So, you know, but nice card, I think. Right, now, if I'm not mistaken, this is our first non-continuous trap card called Fairy Wind. Destroy all of our face-up spell trap cards in the field. Both players take damage equal to the total number of cards destroyed by this effect times 300. So obviously not that great, considering that you're paying 1200 life points to destroy other trap cards you control, but that's still 4,000 attack, about 4,000 attack extra for your Uria. Bear in mind as well, you can control 3 copies of Uria, so that's essentially 12,000 life points. Oh, 12,000 extra attack points, I should say, spread across 3 monsters. Another continuous trap, and a pretty obvious one I think, or not obvious, but kind of obvious, it's Fiendish Chain. Activate this card by targeting one effect monster on the field. Its effects are negated, also it cannot attack. When it is destroyed, destroy this card. So when that monster is destroyed, you destroy this card, but if it's tributed or synchroed or whatever, you don't lose this card. Therefore, it remains a dead card in the field. Therefore, you can either sacrifice it for Uria or Fairy Wind. Not really sacrifice it for Fairy Wind, it's just a detriment, but still gives you an extra boost for Uria. Next up is 5 Brothers Explosion. When this card is activated, gain 500 life points for each continuous spell / trap you control, which means if you control 4 of the cards, I think that's 2500 life points. I think it counts itself, so it's either 2000 or 2500 life points max, which is really nice. If this physical card you control is sent to the graveyard by your opponent's card effect, which means you can't tribute it, inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each continuous spell / trap card in your graveyard. So obviously there's no continuous spells, it basically means every continuous trap in your graveyard. So what I'll do as well is I'll actually count up how many continuous trap cards are in this deck, or at least, well, in this entirety at the moment. Obviously it's not like a proper deck because it's got no side deck, there's a lot of cards. But I'll count up how many cards there are and I'll say how many life points, how much life points it would deal, or how many Uria would have, you know, stuff like that. I'll do that at the end of the video and showcase it. I think that's pretty interesting. Even if this card is even if this deck's a bit weird, you know, I still think it's Anyway, Ghostwreck Knight. While a Ghostwreck monster is on the field, your opponent cannot flip summon. When this card in your possession is destroyed by your opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, your opponent cannot decline attacks for the rest of this turn. So obviously you can't really use the first effect, but the second effect, you can, because it kind of baits your opponent into destroying it, maybe, and then they can't attack that turn, and then also it's an extra 1 fast attack, so really nice right there. Goblin Fan. When a level 2 or lower monster is flip summoned, destroy it, its effects do not activate at that time. So that's obviously again negation, kind of like Dragon Catcher Jar, but a bit different. Next we have Humid Winds. You can pay 1,000, add 1 aroma monster from your deck to your hand. If your life point is lower than your opponent, you can gain 5 more life points. You only use each effect of this card once per turn. So obviously the aroma effect isn't really something we can use, but if your life points are lower, you can gain 5 more life points. So it's really nice for that. So it works even if you've not got like aroma cards in the deck. Next up, another kind of obvious-ish one is Imperial Custom. Basic continuous trap cards cannot be destroyed except Imperial Custom. I like how they specify that even if you have more than one copy of Imperial Custom, it can still be destroyed. And I guess because the other factors, you can only control 1 Imperial Custom, meaning that your opponent can control 1 as well, but it can both still be destroyed. So even, or you can even just destroy 1 Imperial Custom, but but it does protect all such cards. Next up is Imperial Iron Wall. Cards cannot be removed from play. Simple but powerful effect. Next up we have, I would even be able to put the cards straight. Infinite Dismissal. Level 3 or lower monsters are destroyed during the end phase of the turn they are normal summoned or flip summoned. So again, another floodgate, not a powerful one, but still a floodgate of sorts. Next up we've got 2 copies of Crystal Avatar. When an opponent's monster clears the direct attack, if its attack is greater than or equal to your life points, special summon this card in the attack position as an effect monster. Warrior type, light, level 4, question mark attack, so defense. That has attack equal to your life points. Then change the attack target to this card. This card is also still a trap card. If this card summons this way, it's destroyed by battle, and if this card is destroyed by battle, as damage calculation, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its attack. So, really nice effect right there. Next up we have Labyrinth of Nightmare. Once per turn during each player's end phase, change the battle position of all face monsters the turn player controls. So again, something of a floodgate if you will, or something of a mess you about kind of card if you will. It keeps messing up the field if you will, so you've got to kind of play around it. Next up we have Light Imprisoning Mirror. When the effect of a light monster activates in the field or in the graveyard, negate it. And it's a continuous trap card as well with no once per turn effect, so you can negate light monster effects, which is really nice. Next up, another somewhat obvious one, Limit Reverse. Target 1 monster with 1,000 less attack in your graveyard, special summon attack position. If the target is created defense position, destroy it and this card. When this card leaves the field, destroy the target. When the target is destroyed, destroy this card. So again, if the monster is distributed, then you get to keep this card, or get to, it's a bit, but it's a tribute for you, right, if anything, but, if anything. Next up we have 2 copies of Machine King 3000 BC, and one of them is limited edition as well, nice. So I summon this card as an effect monster, Machine type, Earth, level 4, 1 fast attack and defense. Still a trap card. You cannot normal summon or special summon another monster to turn you activate this card. Once per turn, during your main phase, you control your machine type monster. This card gets attack equal to the tribute monster attack until the end phase. So a bit of an odd card, but it's still a machine. It still gives you something of another type, if you will. Speaking of another types, Metal Reflex Flying. At activation, special summon this card in defense position. It's introduced as an effect monster. Aqua type, water, level 10, still attack, 3000 defense. This card cannot attack. This card is still treated as a trap card. So again, another really powerful, nice wall monster sort of thing. Kind of weird that's in this kind of deck, but I guess it is what it is. Next up, we have 3 copies of Miniaturize. Said 1 monster with 1000 or more original attack. It loses 1000 attack, and its level is reduced by 1. Well, that's kind of odd that it requires it to have a faster, more original attack, but it can be level 1 still. Well, I think it can be, although I think it has to have an actual level rather than a rank. Level boost from on. When the monster is moved from the field, destroy this card. So, you know, it's a really nice card, helps slow down your opponent a little bit. Next up we have a copy of Monster Reborn. Your opponent's special summons a monster this turn, activate this card by targeting one monster in your opponent's graveyard. Special summon it to your side of the field into defense position. When this card leaves the field, banish that monster. When that monster leaves the field, destroy this card. So again, it's kind of like Call of the Hunters a little bit, but a bit strange, but it's still a pretty nice card. Next up we have 3 copies of Nightmare Wheel. Activate this card by targeting one monster your opponent controls. It cannot attack or change its battle position. When it leaves the field, destroy this card. To engage your standby phases, inflict vital damage to your opponent. That monster must be on the field to activate and resolve this effect. So I imagine it's still affected even if it's face down. Bit weird, but okay. Next up we have Ordeal of a Traveller. You can only activate this card's effect when your opponent declares attack. Your opponent selects one random card in your hand and calls the type of the card, monster, spell, or trap. If your opponent calls it wrong, the attacking monster returns to the owner's hand. And then if they get it right, then they go through like normal. Next up is Overdoom Line. All plant type monsters special summon from the graveyard to your side of the field while this card is placed on the field gain a fast attack. I think that's permanent, by the way, until they're removed or whatever. Destroy this card during your second end phase after activation. Now obviously there's no plant cards in this deck, but it's still another card, and maybe I'll put plant cards in this deck, maybe, who knows. We'll see, I guess. Next up we have Pixie Ring. While you control 2 or more face-up attack monsters, your opponent cannot target your monsters with the lowest attack from the target for an attack. So a really nice defensive card again. Next we have Power Sink Stone. Each time a monster effect is activated, place 1 spell stone counter on this card, maximum 2. While this card has 2 spell stone counters on it, face-up monsters on the field cannot activate their effects and their effects negated. During each end phase, remove all spell stone counters from this card. So this probably is a detriment to this deck, considering I think it will also negate Uria's effect, but still a continuous strap card. It's still, you know, a floodgate of sorts until you get him out, at least. Next up we have Respect Play. During their respective turns, each player must show their opponent their hand. So play your hand in the field while this card's in the field. I think I messed up my cards a little bit. Hang on a minute. Alright, okay, cool. Didn't do it too much. I have to start another part because the deck is so big. Next up, we have Scrubbed Raid. During the battle phase, you can send 1 card you control to the graveyard, except this card, to end the battle phase. And by the way, you can end your own battle phase with this card, by the way, if you wanted to, but, you know, that's, you know, I'm just thinking, like, you could do that if you wanted to send more continuous strap cards to the graveyard, but then you lose your turn, your battle phase, so. 3 copies of Shadow Spell. And this fate, this card by targeting face of monster opponent controls, it loses an attack, also it cannot attack or change its battle position. When it leaves the field, destroy this card. Really nice effect. Again, slows down your opponent. 2 copies of Shattered Axe. Set 1 face monster on the field. While this card is on the field, decrease the attack of that monster by 500 points during each of your standby phases. When a monster is destroyed, destroy this card. So again, if it's not destroyed, if it's tributed or whatever, you get to, quote unquote, keep this card, but, you know, so it's tribute fodder for Uria or whatever, but, you know, that's not here or there, I guess, again. Next up we have Space Dragster. First one card is an effect monster. Machine type Tuner, Fire, level 1, attack 0, 800 defense. This card is still a trap card. And summoned this way, other tuners you control cannot be destroyed by any battle or your opponent's card effects when this card is in the monster zone. So again, a tuner monster, trap monster, so it's really nice for if you want to go into synchro plays for this deck. But not too bad. Next we have Space Gate. Each time a monster your opponent controls attacks or is attacked, place 1 gate counter on this card at the end of the damage step. During your main phase, you can send this card to the graveyard, So summon one monster from your hand whose level is less than or equal to the number of gate counters on this card. So again, sends itself to the graveyard, that's an extra 1000 points for Uria. And that is also, you know, a free special summon of a monster as well, like your Worm Illidan, you know, at the beginning. Next up we have 3 copies of, if I can just sort them out of my hand, Spiritual Sword Revealing Light. Once per attack, when the opponent's monster declares an attack, you can pay 1000 life points and get the attack. During your opponent's turn, you can banish this card from your graveyard. This turn, your opponent's monster cannot attack directly. So again, another floodgate of sorts. Really nice. Next up is 2 copies of Statue of Anguish Pattern. Special summon this card as an effect monster, rock type, earth, level 7, so attack 25 defense. Still a trap card. Now summoned this way, this card cannot be targeted by an opponent's card effect while you control another trap card that is a monster. So obviously if you control 2 copies of this card, both will kind of protect each other like that. If a card is special summoned from the spell card zone to the monster zone while this card is in the monster zone, you can target one card in the field and destroy it. So again, if you summon another one, or whatever, you get to MST something on your opponent's field. Really nice. Next, Summon Gate. These players can special summon a maximum of 3 monsters from the edge deck each turn. So that does slow down. Actually, no, it doesn't slow down Pendulum Summoning. But if Pendulum Summoning from the edge deck was infinite, like you could special summon up to 5 monsters or whatever, this would lower it down to 3. But you know, again, another nice floodgate. This deck doesn't have too many actual deck monsters, to be fair, so or even planned ones, isn't it? Anyway, next up is the Door of Destiny. When the opponent's monster declares the direct attack, negate the attack, and special summon this card as an effect monster. Fiend type, light, level 1, attack and defense 0. This card is still a trap. During your standby phase, while this card is treated as a monster, you can manage any number of Utopia monsters with different names from your graveyard and take 500 damage to your opponent for each of those banished monsters. And if you do, this card gets attack equal to the damage they took. So again, I guess this is something of a reason why I should get Utopia monsters for this deck. But that's, I don't know about that just yet, but it's still something. It's something of a idea in the future, I guess. I guess that's kind of what I'm planning for, is Utopia monsters as well as the Synchro. Anyway, 3 copies of Tiki Curse. After activation, special summon this card is treated as an effect monster card. Rock type, dog, level 4, 800 attack, 1,000 defense. This card is still treated as a trap. While this card is treated as an effect monster, if another trap card treated as a monster battles the opponent's monster, destroy the opponent's monster after damage calculation. So really nice to you know, destroys any monster that battles a trap, or battles another trap monster, but obviously that applies to other copies of itself. Next up we got 3 copies of Tiki Soul. Special summon as an effect monster. Rock, light, level 4, 1000 attack, 800 defense, so kind of the first stats. Still a trap card. While this card is treated as an effect monster, if another trap card you control that is treated as a monster would be destroyed by your opponent's card and battle or card effect and sent to your graveyard, you can set it in your spell trap card zone instead. So that's really nice. You know, resets your monster cards and such, it's really nice. And I think if you control 2 copies, or even 3, and all your monsters are, and your opponent activates Regeki, I think all of them will have each other's backs and put them back in the spell trap card zone. That's really cool. Transmigration Break. Any card that would be returned to the deck from the graveyard are removed from play instead. I wonder what happens if you got that Imperial Iron Wall on the field. They'll probably stay in the graveyard, to be fair. But yeah, another floodgate, nice. Jeez, 40 minutes already, jeez. Unification. Once returned during each player's standby phase, the turn player declares a level from among the face of monsters they control and sends all face of monsters they control with different levels to the graveyard. So, really good for getting rid of your monsters. Obviously, if you have Uria, you can just declare level 10 and keep all 3 of your Urias on the field, because you declare 10 and then you send all monsters that aren't level 10 to the graveyard. I assume that still means you send all the Ixises and whatever to the graveyard, but next up is Vanity's Emptiness. Now the player can special summon monsters, so that means Uria as well. If a card is sent from the deck all the field to your graveyard, destroy this card. So it doesn't matter if it's from your opponent's deck, which I don't think they'd have it in the deck anyway. Actually no, yeah, power side. Or if it's from their side of the field to your graveyard, it's just like your graveyard, then you lose this card. So there's that. Next up is Wicked Rebirth. Pay 800 life points, set a synchro in your graveyard and special summon it and face protection. Its effect is negated, and this turn it cannot be declared an attack. When this card is removed from the field, destroy the monster. When that monster is destroyed, destroy this card. So again, you know, if it's if it's banished or whatever, you get to keep this card. You know? So that's another sort of like keeper, if you will, or bad keeper, I guess. I don't know. Next up is Sing Sen Hu. I hope that's how you pronounce it. My apologies if I did butcher it. Select 2 set spell trap cards on the field and activate this card. As long as the card remains on the field, certain spell trap cards can be activated. I don't know then what to think. If this card gets Book of Moon, obviously I know Book of Moon doesn't work on traps, but if this card gets Book of Moon, quote unquote, it's still on the field, so does it still lock down those spell trap cards? Probably not, I want to say, but at the same time that's kind of what it implies to me. So that's another thing I'd love to know, I guess. Next, we've got a few Xyz cards here, with Xyz Tribal Rivals. Face-up Xyz monsters on the field with 2 or more materials cannot be destroyed by card effects. After damage calculation, if an Xyz monster you control that battles an opponent's monster, destroy that opponent's monster. That Xyz monster must have 2 or more materials attached to activate and to resolve its effect. So, again, monster with 2 materials, that's really good. Especially for non-effect Xyz monsters that keep the materials anyway. That's really nice. And this is our only other Xyz card, okay. Xyz Wrath. Once per turn, when a level 5 or higher monster's effect is activated, except during damage step, and you control an Xyz monster, you can discard 1 card, negate the effect, and if you do, destroy that monster. So, yeah, really nice negation right there. And you can discard a continuous trap card again for Uria. Alright, and finally, at long last, the final card is 3 copies of Soma the Spirits. Smash summon this card in defense position as an effect monster. Zombie type, Dark, level 4, 800 attack, 500 defense. Bear in mind it's summoning in defense mode as well. It's got a slow trap card. If this card is destroyed in battle, with the damage to opponent equal to the attack on the monster that destroyed it. And it's just if it's destroyed by battle, not if it's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard. But if it's destroyed by card effect, then you don't get it. Well, obviously you don't get it, but anyway. So yeah, that's the deck. Hopefully it wasn't too bad, but something, I guess. And hopefully it wasn't too bad. You know, I really hope it wasn't, because I did have to speedrun through it because there was a lot of cards in this deck. I think the Raphael one's going to be like that as well. A little bit. It might be a little bit. I can't remember how the Hammond deck went either, because that's the one that I recorded prematurely by accident. But, you know, obviously, so it's going to be a bit of a whiplash, I guess, is the right word. That, you know, the next video, the next deck profile is going to be kind of worse, quote unquote, and then it jumps back up to the normal deck profiles I'm doing as of late. But yeah, I wanted to do this video, I wanted to do this deck profile because I've been thinking about doing a few more deck profiles because I've got a select few to do, but at the same time I want to wait until I've actually sorted out my cards, because right now I obviously haven't sorted out my cards at all because, you know, it's I've just not gotten around to it yet. But at the same time, you know, I'm not really uploading too much at the moment. You know, I've only got my Minky Mondays at the minute going on, and then Gen 2 8th is going to start soon in 2 months. So that's, well, yeah, it's not going to start for another 2 months. So as of this moment, anyway, it's 7th of October, remember. So, you know, so yeah, it's that's why I'm doing this video now, because I figured I'd get it out of the way now, you know, just for the sake of argument. And then, you know, I'll do the other deck profile. Now, as for my mill deck and my banish deck, those I am going to do soon, but I don't want to do them yet. I was thinking about them the other day, but now now I'm thinking it's probably best if I wait on those two, because those two are, like I said, they're pretty important decks, if you will. So I think it's best to not do those two just yet, or at least not release them just yet, if you will. I might do them, but I won't release them for a while. So that's what's going to happen with those two deck profiles at the minute. I don't know if there's any other deck profiles like them that I want to do, but obviously you'll see as we do them. So, you know, and then also my replica deck project, that starts in December as well. That is probably what's going to help kickstart the whole idea of me, you know, getting my cards sorted, because the replica deck project, basically what it is it's looking at the anime, seeing what cards everyone plays, and then making a deck out of it. You know, making based on the cards that they play and whatnot. So obviously I've got to collect those cards, put them into a deck. Now obviously, you know, obviously there's some facts I've got to consider, and I've had time to consider those things, and I'm getting sorted on it. But for now, but also I've got to make the decks as well. I want to make the decks as best as I possibly can. So I'm obviously going to get started on that, and when I can start properly building the decks, that's when I'm going to sort out the cards. You know, and when I can start, you know, building up these decks, if you will. Some cards I know, you know, are pretty obvious that some people play them, or you can think back, you know, or how did they play this card or whatever, you know, that kind of thing. But like, obviously I want to get like a proper list, if you will. And once I start, you know, building these decks, that's when I'm going to start making a dent in actually putting these, actually sorting these cards out and whatnot. So it's including for my other deck profiles and the like. So, you know, there's that all to consider. So, you know, I will give updates as well on my replica deck project, but obviously for now, it's not really a thing I've properly started. So I can't give any sort of updates because I've not started it yet, but I will give updates as soon as I can, basically, is what I'm saying. So, yeah. That's what I'm hoping to achieve. You know, that's what to expect as well, as that I'm not going to start sorting out my cards until December, you know, at the latest. That's when I'm going to properly start sorting the cards out. So, you know, upgrading some of my older decks and whatnot as well, stuff like that. There was a few other things as well. There's a few other factors as well, like I just did a deck profile, not a deck profile, a card box opening the other day for the what's it called, the Legendary Decks 2, I think it's called. That has cards in it that are gonna, that I want to use in my decks, right? I'm not gonna say which because I don't know if I've released the video yet, but that's gonna include cards that has cards in it that I want to use for other decks. But at the same time, I'm thinking maybe I could duel with them as well. Kind of like what I've got planned with my that, you know, Realm of Light deck profile I mentioned, where I'm gonna do a duel with them, you know. So yeah, there's all that to look forward to. I don't know how exactly I'm gonna go about providing updates for the replica deck project, but we'll certainly see as soon as I start on it. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know just yet, but we'll see for now, I guess. Alright, well that's it for today's deck profile. It's not Minky Monday, it's a deck profile for once. It's about 2 more, and then it's going to go on a proper hiatus until I've sorted out my decks. So yeah, there's that. Alright, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a really nice, really minky day.